Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We got some really interesting articles from you guys about dietary supplements.
Yeah, seems like a lot of you are trying to figure out, what's the deal with these things? Do they really work?
Exactly. And I get it. I mean, you walk into any store these days and there's like a whole wall of supplements. It can be pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, it's definitely a booming industry. But are they all living up to the hype? I guess that's what we're going to try to figure out today.
Right. And it's not like it's a small number of people taking these things. One of the articles said over a third of Americans are taking supplements.
Wow, that's a lot of pills. But before we get into all that, maybe we should start with the basics.
Yeah, good point. What even is a dietary supplement? Like, officially?
Well, the articles you sent all define them pretty much the same way. It's basically anything that contains at least one dietary ingredient. So that could be vitamins, minerals, herbs, botanicals, amino acids, all sorts of stuff.
Okay, so that's like everything from the calcium I take for my bones to that fish oil my friend is always raving about.
Exactly. And they come in all different forms, too. Pills, powders, liquids, you name it.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp on what they are. Now, the big question, do they actually work? I mean, the promise of better health is definitely tempting.
Oh, yeah. Who wouldn't want a quick fix in a pill, right?
Right.
Well, the truth is, it's complicated. Some supplements do have proven benefits.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, like the research you sent actually highlighted vitamin B12 for energy and folic acid for pregnant women. Those are some good examples of supplements with pretty strong scientific backing.
So there are some winners out there.
Yeah, definitely. But then on the other hand, you've got stuff like
Like what?
well, one of the articles mentioned that the National Institutes of Health has spent billions researching vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
And the results, well, they're not always that impressive.
So maybe that daily multivitamin isn't the magic bullet some people think it is.
It's not necessarily a magic bullet, no. They can help fill in some gaps, sure, but they're not going to magically prevent every disease or make you live forever. It's just not that simple.
And speaking of making big promises, one of the articles mentioned that it's actually illegal for companies to claim that supplements treat or prevent diseases.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Consumers definitely need to be wary of any product claiming to be a miracle cure.
Right, because that's just not how it works. And it makes you wonder, are these things even safe? I mean, it seems like taking a vitamin would be pretty harmless, right?
Well, a lot of multivitamins are generally considered low risk, but there are still things to be cautious about.
Like what?
Well, the articles pointed out that the regulations for supplements aren't as strict as they are for, prescription drugs.
Wait, really? So what you see on the label might not be the whole story?
That can be the case, unfortunately. So both the effectiveness and safety of some supplements aren't always a sure thing.
Wow, okay. That's a little unsettling.
Yeah, just because it's on the shelf doesn't mean it's been, thoroughly vetted.
So what kind of risks are we talking about here?
Well, for one, some supplements can interact dangerously with medications. Like the articles gave the example of vitamin K,
Yeah?
which can interfere with blood thinners.
Oh, wow.
And then there can also be unexpected side effects.
Side effects, huh? Like what?
Well, one article highlighted a case where this person was taking ginkgo biloba for memory.
Oh, yeah, ginkgo. I've heard of that.
Right, so they ended up having these really serious bleeding complications after a minor dental procedure.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it turns out ginkgo can thin the blood, which is obviously a major concern if you're having surgery or, already taking blood thinners.
See, this is why I wanted to do this deep dive. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's definitely important to be informed.
So it's not just ginkgo then.
Right, there are others too. Like St. John's wort, some people use that for depression, but it can actually reduce the effectiveness of other medications. So the bottom line is, talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements, even the ones that seem harmless.
Okay, so we've established that this is serious stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk to your doctor, everyone. But let's say you have talked to your doctor, and they've given you the green light to try a specific supplement.
Okay.
What should you look for when you're actually choosing one?
Well, the articles had some good advice on that. First of all, read the labels carefully.
Okay, so don't just grab the prettiest bottle.
Right. Pay attention to the ingredients, the dosage, any warnings.
Gotcha.
And be wary of extreme claims,
It sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. And don't assume that just because something is labeled natural, it's automatically safe.
Okay, so after all this, it seems like the best way to get our nutrients is probably eating actual food.
You're absolutely right. All the articles emphasize that supplements are meant to supplement a healthy diet.
Not replace it.
Exactly.
So no pill can truly replicate all the benefits of real whole foods.
Exactly. A balanced diet is still like the foundation of good health.
It all comes back to that, huh?
It really does. Speaking of where those nutrients come from, though, one of the articles mentioned supplements being made in factories, which got me thinking, where do the ingredients come from? Like, what's the whole story there?
Ooh, that's a great question. We've been talking about what supplements can do for us.
Right.
But what about the impact of, like, producing them? That's a whole other conversation.
Definitely. Maybe something we could unpack in part 2.
Yeah, that's a deep dive for another time.
It's definitely something to consider. Just like with our food choices, understanding where our supplements come from and how they're made can give us a more complete picture.
I like that. So we've talked about what dietary supplements are, looked at some of the research on how well they work and whether they're safe.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we've emphasized that you should always talk to your doctor.
That's key.
Before starting any new supplement.
Absolutely. It's about making informed decisions about your health.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already, and we're just getting started.
We've only just scratched the surface. But hopefully this gives everyone a better understanding of, just how complex the world of supplements really is.
Yeah, and it's not about being afraid of supplements or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just about,
being smart.
being informed.
Yeah, like knowledge is power, right? The more we understand about this stuff,
Totally.
the better choices we can make for ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's easy to just kind of get caught up in all the marketing and all the promises.
Oh, for sure.
But taking a step back and actually, thinking critically about the information,
Right.
that's so important. And that's kind of what this whole deep dive is all about, right?
Yeah, it's about being a discerning consumer, not just falling for all the hype or misinformation.
And remembering that, everyone is different.
Oh, absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to health.
Right. Our bodies are complex, so something that might work for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it could even be harmful for someone else. And that's why, getting personalized advice from a healthcare professional is so important.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They can look at your specific situation,
Yeah.
Like your health history, any medications you're taking.
Right.
And just provide more tailored guidance.
It's like having a knowledgeable guide
Yeah, I like that.
in a world that can feel very overwhelming.
Right, exactly. It's about, finding good sources of information and building that relationship with your doctor or your healthcare provider.
And speaking of reliable sources of information,
Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning again that we're not medical professionals.
Oh, yeah, definitely not.
We're just, two people who are interested in this stuff.
Yeah, we just like to learn about things.
And share what we're learning.
Exactly.
But all this information we're talking about, it's based on the research that you sent us.
Right.
And it's so important for everyone listening to actually consult with their own healthcare team for personalized advice.
Couldn't agree more.
So to recap, we've talked about eating a balanced diet.
Right.
We've talked about some of the risks and benefits of supplements and the need to actually talk to your doctor.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we should be keeping in mind as we kind of navigate this world?
One thing that really stood out to me in these articles was the whole idea of being a mindful consumer.
Oh, interesting.
Especially when it comes to the source of your supplements.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that these pills and powders are actual products,
Exactly. And just like with any other product, the quality and the sourcing of the ingredients can vary a lot.
So how can we be more mindful about that, where our supplements are actually coming from?
Well, one thing you can do is look for certifications from reputable third-party organizations.
Oh, okay.
The ones that actually test the products for quality and purity.
Oh, so it's kind of like looking for fair trade labels on coffee or organic certifications on produce.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
Those certifications give you that extra layer of assurance that the product meets certain standards.
So are there specific organizations that we should be looking for?
Yeah, the articles mentioned a couple, like USP
Okay.
and NSF.
Got it.
They're pretty well known.
Cool.
And basically what they do is they test the supplements to make sure that, they actually contain the ingredients that they say they contain.
Okay.
That they dissolve properly in your body, and that they don't have any like harmful contaminants.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's all about making informed choices.
Yeah.
And being aware of what you're putting into your body.
Right. So it's not enough to just like read the label.
Right.
We're talking about like really digging into the whole supply chain.
You got it.
And kind of understanding where things are coming from.
Exactly.
So it all comes back to that question of like, are supplements worth it?
Right.
And it seems like the answer is like not a simple yes or no.
It really isn't. There are just like so many factors to consider, you know. We've got individual needs, potential benefits, safety concerns, the whole mindful consumerism thing,
Mm-hmm.
even like the ethics of production.
That's true. We didn't even really get into that. Like
Yeah.
the impact that producing supplements has on like the environment.
Right, exactly. That's a whole other aspect to think about.
So it's not about saying that all supplements are bad.
No, not at all.
It's just about like understanding the limitations
Right.
and making choices that are right for you.
Absolutely. And that's really what we've been trying to do in this deep dive, you know, just lay out the information
Yeah.
so that people can make their own informed decisions.
Right, because ultimately the decision of whether or not to take supplements is a personal one.
It really is.
You know, it's about weighing those pros and cons, talking to your doctor, and making a choice that feels good for you.
Exactly.
So hopefully, you know, this deep dive will encourage people to maybe like take a closer look at the supplements they're taking.
Be a little more curious about it all.
Or even just thinking about taking. Right.
Exactly. Do your research.
So we've covered a lot of the second part.
Yeah, we have.
We talked about being mindful consumers,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about where those ingredients come from, and even like some of the ethical implications
It's all connected.
of like supplement production.
Absolutely.
And again, talking to your healthcare provider
Always a good idea.
to make like the best decisions for you.
Your health is your health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what I find so fascinating?
What's that?
We started with this question of like, do supplements work?
Right.
And we've ended up talking about like everything from ocean ecosystems to
I know, it's crazy.
labor standards.
It all ties together.
It just shows you how like interconnected everything is.
Absolutely. It highlights how important it is to think critically about these things, even when it seems like, oh, it's just a vitamin, you know?
Right, exactly.
But it goes so much deeper than that.
I think it's time to like start wrapping things up, you know, moving into part 3.
Yeah, sounds good.
But before we do that,
Okay.
I want to leave you with a final thought. All right.
Okay, I like it.
We've been talking so much about what supplements can do for us, but I think an equally important question is like, what can we do for our health
Ooh, that's a good one.
beyond just like taking a pill?
Yeah, it feels like we've been so focused on like supplements as this potential quick fix.
Right.
But maybe it's not really the right way to think about it.
I agree. Supplements can definitely be useful sometimes, but they're just, you know, one part of a bigger picture.
Okay, so what's the bigger picture?
Well, all the research we looked at kept coming back to this idea of a balanced diet.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like a really nutrient-rich diet. You just can't fully replicate all the benefits of whole foods with a pill.
That's true. But let's be real, how many people are actually eating a perfect diet every single day?
Right.
So is there a place for supplements in, like, bridging that gap? Or is that just wishful thinking? I think it's probably a little bit of both. Supplements can be helpful for filling in specific gaps,
Okay.
especially if, you know, you have dietary restrictions or maybe a medical condition that makes it hard to get all the nutrients you need from food alone.
So it's not about saying supplements are bad.
No, not at all.
It's more about, like, using them strategically
Exactly.
as part of a healthy lifestyle.
Exactly. And a healthy lifestyle, you know, it's not just about diet. It's also about things like exercise, managing stress, getting enough sleep.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Right. And, you know, even just having good relationships with people, feeling connected.
It's like a whole person approach.
I love that. It's about seeing health as like this multifaceted thing.
Not just like what you put in your body,
Right.
but how you live your life.
How you think, how you move, how you interact with the world.
I got to say, doing this deep dive has really made me think about my own approach to health, you know?
Oh, yeah. In what way?
It's just like, I realize it's not just about popping a vitamin and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It's about like actively participating in my well-being.
Absolutely. Taking ownership of it.
And that's something no supplement can do for you.
Exactly. Making conscious choices to support your physical and mental health.
Yeah, love that.
It's your journey.
It's been so interesting unpacking all this with you.
Me too.
We started with this simple question about supplements.
Right.
And we've ended up having this whole, thought-provoking conversation about what it means to be healthy.
It's amazing where these deep dives can take us, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of it, right? We're always learning, always challenging ourselves to think a little deeper.
I love that.
And hopefully our listeners are feeling inspired to, keep exploring these topics.
Yeah, keep asking questions.
And making informed choices about their own health.
Exactly.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive.
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time, stay curious.